Hi everyone, this is Sam with Wine News in 5. I just flew back from California this morning where Jancis, Alder Yarrow, Josh Green, and I celebrated the site's 25th anniversary at CIA Copia with the Wine Institute and Wines of California. Our session formed part of the Global Buyers Marketplace, which brought over 100 buyers from 37 countries to Napa to network with California wineries. If you wanted to attend but you couldn't make it, a recording of our discussion will be available shortly, and I'll link to that in the transcript of this newscast. As well as celebrating our site's 25th anniversary, I'd also like to raise a glass to another anniversary. The Wine News in 5 is officially 2 today. From the first Instagram video on October 30th, 2023, to today, we've upgraded audio quality, added subtitles, released a podcast version of this newscast, and added a transcript with linked sources on our website. Thank you to all of you for following along and suggesting improvements. You're the reason this is still going. So cheers. In terms of global news, today I'll discuss the first Voltis harvest in Champagne, new research showing the cost of tariffs on U.S. wine consumers, Trump canceling trade talks with Canada, statistics on how wine tourism accounts for a quarter of global winery revenue, how pub closures are causing an increase in loneliness in the UK, and the discovery of a 1,600-year-old winemaking facility. First up, the first Voltis harvest in Champagne. In the summer of 2021, the Growers Association in Champagne drafted a proposal to allow limited plantings of Voltis, which is a fungus-resistant hybrid grape variety, in the Champagne AOC. That proposal was subsequently approved by France's National Institute for Origin and Quality, the INAO. Under Champagne's Cahier des Charges, Voltis is limited to no more than 5% of vineyard area and no more than 10% of the final blend of any cuvée. Voltis is classified as a variety of interest for adaptation, and its permanent inclusion in the AOC specifications will not be discussed until 2032. Nevertheless, on October 28th, the French publication Vitisphere announced Champagne's first Voltis harvest. Grapes were cultivated by 80 vignerons on a total of 8.9 hectares, 22 acres. Eloise Mahe, head of the Grape and Wine Quality Department of the Comité Champagne, told Vitisphere that compared with Chardonnay, there are half as many bunches per square meter with Voltis, and the bunches are twice as large. She also commented on trials run for vinification, with mentions of the variety's tendency to color the must and a need to mitigate bitterness on the finish. On to new research showing the cost of tariffs on U.S. wine consumers. The American Association of Wine Economists, the AAWE, has compiled a new report on who pays the cost of tariffs. Based on data from 2019 to 2021, reflecting the U.S. tariffs placed on European wine during the time, the report shows that it is U.S. consumers who pay for tariffs, ultimately paying more than the government receives in tariff revenue. This is because, with a three-tier system that relies on importers, distributors, and retailers, markups become amplified by the time the product reaches the consumer. This is true even if a foreign producer helps their importer absorb the tariff cost. The report found that margins for importers and producers contracted, while those for distributors and retailers expanded. I recommend reading the AAWE report. I would also add that American wine producers suffer with global tariffs, as the backlash has lost us our largest export market, something that did not happen during the 2019 tariff hike on the EU. Which brings me to my next point. Trump cancels trade talks with Canada. On October 23rd, Trump terminated trade negotiations with Canada, previously the U.S.'s largest export market, due to an ad run by Ontario's provincial government during the World Series games, which featured audio of Ronald Reagan criticizing tariffs. Trump called the ad fraudulent and has brushed off Prime Minister Mark Carney's attempts to resume negotiations. However, Carney also visited Singapore this week, discussing a Canada ASEAN, Association of Southeast Asian Nations, free trade agreement to be signed in 2026, as well as announcing his goal to double non-U.S. exports in the next decade. It seems highly unlikely that the U.S. wine industry will reclaim its largest export market. Next, statistics on how wine tourism accounts for a quarter of global winery revenue. This month, the Hochschule Geisenheim University released the Global Wine Tourism Report 2025 in collaboration with UN Tourism, the OIV, the Great Wine Capitals Global Network, and winetourism.com. This report found that 88% of wineries currently offer some form of wine tourism activity. Two-thirds of wineries say that wine tourism is profitable. Overall, tourism contributes an average of 25% of total winery revenue. On to pub closures increasing loneliness in the UK. According to data from the British Beer and Pubs Association, the BBPA, over 200 pubs in Britain closed in the first 6 months of 2025. New research from BBPA shows 2 out of 3 Brits view pubs as vital in the fight against isolation. 1 in 3 stated that they or someone they know have experienced increased loneliness as a direct result of losing their local pub. 60% are concerned about pub closures in their area. 70% consider the pub important or very important for their local area's social life. BBPA is asking the government to take action against the increasing regulatory costs that have made it more challenging to run a pub. Finally, the discovery of a 1,600-year-old winemaking facility. On October 18th, Hurriyet Daily News announced that archaeologists have discovered a 1,600-year-old winemaking facility in Adıyaman in southeast Turkey that stretches across 15 hectares, 37 acres. Researchers believe the number of wine presses suggest wine could have been produced on an industrial scale. The site is near Chiata Castle, part of the 3rd century kingdom of Commagene and later occupied by the Romans. That's all for this episode of the Wine News. If you enjoy this newscast and you'd like to see it continue, please become a member of jancesrobinson.com. And if you have breaking news in your area, please email me at news@jancesrobinson.com. Thanks.